Hello and welcome to the Give My Head podcast, episode 32. I'm Tim McGarry, joined by my comedy colleague,
Michael McDowell.
We are delighted to have a special guest on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We have had politicians, we've had comedians, we've had writers, we've had actors. This man is multi-talented. It is, of course, the wonderful Mr. Andrew Ryan.
Hello.
You probably know Andrew. Thank you very much for joining us. You may know him from Q Radio. You may know him from stand-up. You may know him from lots of things. Andrew, before we start, this is very, very important. I have to plug my own show.
Oh, do it, yeah.
With what's called a leaflet. I don't know if you've heard of it. You're
Yes.
a modern man.
Very 1990s.
Very 19. It's the same picture, but
Yeah.
front and back.
Yeah.
I'm doing my solo show, Ridiculous, in the Lyric Theatre
Very
on
good.
the 27th of April. Sunday the 27th of April. Still some tickets available. For some reason, we don't know why they're still available, but they are available. So
The Lyric is a nice spot.
the Lyric is a beautiful spot for stand-up. Have you done
No,
stand-up in
I've
the
been
Lyric?
there, but I've not done a show there. But it's one of those. Everyone seems to know the Lyric Theatre. It seems to be transcends Belfast, doesn't it?
It's a beautiful little spot for us.
Yeah.
Very good for stand-up. About 400-seater, nice and audience nice and close to you. Ceiling is low.
Yeah.
You've done loads of gigs around, but you're a Cork man originally.
Yeah, well, I was actually born in Westmeath.
Were you?
Yeah, I was born in Athlone, the centre of
right.
Ireland, and I left there when I was 3. Not my choice.
Right.
I was just
You
told.
had no influence. You didn't
I
go.
like. It's like people
Not
say.
liking Westmeath, mum.
It's like people go, "Why did you leave Cork?" Well, you shouldn't be ask my parents that question. Like, don't be asking me. I didn't choose. At 3 years of age, I had no skin in the game. Like, I didn't have a voice. Like,
There's a great joke Spike Milligan used to do. Spike Milligan was born in India, and some interviewer said to him, "Why were you born in India?" And he said, "Well, I wanted to be close to my mother."
yeah. So I moved to Cork when I was 3.5 or 4.
Right.
So I think I've got one memory of living in Athlone. I fell down a manhole.
Right.
And true story, yeah, and I ended up in hospital.
Right.
And I vividly remember the day I was in a buggy and my sister was standing next to me and my mother was pushing us. My mother was a nurse and she was off and it was like a Tuesday. We were picked up from play school or whatever thing you go to at 3. And I reached across to get something off my sister and my buggy wasn't, the belt in my
Right.
buggy wasn't tight. And there was just as we were going past roadworks.
Right.
And I slipped. No, I didn't fall too far. It wasn't like a big drop or anything.
Right, okay,
but I
that's
fell
sort
in,
of fit.
and my mum like screaming, and I
Right.
banged my head, and I took it to hospital. And I distinctly remember that kind of panic of my mum, and that's the only memory I have of
Right.
Athlone
Wow.
is my mum sitting next to me in a
Your
hospital.
mum who failed
It's a
to belt
vivid
you
memory.
in.
It's a very vivid
Failed to
memory.
Failed to belt you
Parental
in a
neglect.
secure manner.
In a secure manner, yeah. So
And you should have been on the child line of social services.
yeah,
That
no,
was-
it was all right. But like that,
But you were okay.
Yeah, and then the first memory I ever have of living in Cork, we lived in Douglas, and this is true now, right? My sister threw my car dinkies into the fire, and I went in after it and slipped.
You went in
And I
after-
sat on the fire, and I had 2 lumps of coal stuck to my arse, and I had to go to A&E. And to this day, I still have red marks on my arse from the
Really?
burns. I still have the marks.
Stinky marks.
So my first 2 memories are of abuse.
From your mother and your sister.
And that's why I've moved to the north to get away from the abuse.
Was there a reason for throwing the dinky toys into the fire?
Just fighting. Me and my sister's only like a year between us, so we
Right.
would have grown up fighting a lot right up until our teenage years. And I distinctly remember, like, I slipped on the fireplace and I sat on coal, and I still have the mark. There's a
Right.
burn mark on my backside.
We're okay. We don't need this. Is it a large mark?
It's kind of like probably the size of your baby nail,
All right. Okay.
something like that. Yeah, but it's like that's the I have that. So there.
Do you show that off to people when you have too much?
I'll be honest with you, I probably haven't spoken about it for years.
Oh,
I just
wow.
rememred. I must check. I must
This is
check.
the type of
I must-
podcast you come on to talk about
I
your
must
personal
check to see
traumas.
if I still have it actually, but it did stay with me forever. Got the burn
Right.
mark. You know?
Well, look, we'll take a photo later on. We'll have it.
Put it up on the Patreon if anyone needs it.
So if you moved to Cork at 3, do Cork people regard you as Cork, or do you go?
Oh,
you're
I'm
a
100%.
Johnny come lately?
No.
you're
Attention, you don't really have
blow
a goal.
in.
You don't really have.
Because Cork people take Cork very seriously.
I take Cork very seriously, enough to not live there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like when you're from Cork, Cork has, like, Tommy Tiernan used to do a great bit about it. Cork people go to the moon. And they're on the moon, they look around like, it's not Cork. So, like, Cork people love Cork. You know, I think people in Cork have this kind of mindset of everyone's against us.
Right.
You know, and
That's
even,
a Derry thing as well.
yeah, it's kind of like, you know, Michael Collins got shafted,
Yeah.
Roy Keane got shafted. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, we're our own identity. We're Cork. We're down the bottom of the country. We're a big city. We've got our own airport.
It is a beautiful city. Though,
Yeah,
isn't
we're
it?
good at football. We're not good at football at the moment, but we're the hurling's made a good surge to come back. All Ireland final last year against Clare. Football is a bit of a disaster. We've two League of Ireland teams down there. We're just kind of like Derry, we're kind of just a little bit out of the busyness of the rest of the country. So it's great. Like it's
It actually
great.
did remind me because we were down there last year. It reminded me of Derry quite a bit actually.
Did it?
It did actually. That kind of there was kind of a relaxed vibe about it. I felt,
Yeah.
The city's lovely, but there is that vibe of kind of we're not Dublin. We're
Yeah, we are different. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
second city.
Dublin. Like it's kind of like Cork Irish. Where are you from? If you meet somebody from like Limerick, they go, "Where are you from?" They go, "Oh, from Ireland." You meet somebody from Cork, like, "Where are you from?" Cork. Where's that in Ireland? You have a tendency to say the Cork first rather than the Ireland.
Yeah, that's a Derry thing as
You
well.
know what I mean? Like,
I met a Derry woman who said there's two types of Derry people that think Derry's the centre of the universe or the arse end of the universe.
Yeah,
and they can't wait to
exactly,
get out of it. You know,
yeah.
But, you left Cork, but you still love it.
yeah, I mean, I'm down there every 5-6 weeks.
yeah.
Anyway, I go home quite a bit. Like I left in 2004 and I haven't been back.
Right.
I lived there in 2018 for a year. My mom was sick with cancer, so I moved home and I went to England, and then I started to stand up over there. And then obviously my mum got ill, I came back, and then she passed away just before the pandemic.
Okay.
So I kind of had like 3 years, whereas I 3 years kind of off comedy. But when I was back home, I was living back home full time in Cork, and I was going to England like every second weekend to do gigs and stuff. And I was back living in the life that I had in Cork. And then all the guys I went to school with, obviously I would go and see them. Quite a few of them moved away. It was like, oh, I'm not married, no kids. You've commitments. Oh, right, you're not available to. No, what? 6 months time we meet up. Okay, cool. Like that kind of thing. So you realize very quickly, like your life becomes really what's in front of you rather than what you used to have. So like my life in Cork then when I was back home for the year was just my family and a few friends who were available.
Yeah.
Because I had friends from school that I know, like they live in Australia, they live in Dublin, they live in England, moved up to Galway. So and they've got married with kids, and I'm not. So it's kind of like, oh, this isn't what it. My memory is like you finish your school and you hang out, and that's kind of gone. Like so it's a different time when I was back now. But I'll be honest with you, I'm marrying a girl from here.
We know, yes.
So we've had the
Well
conversation.
done.
We've had the conversation.
Is it the
about
conversation
Cork.
went well?
We've had the conversation.
You're
about
not moving to Cork?
To move to Cork. No, and she's open to the conversation.
She's open to the
yeah,
conversation.
she's totally open to it. Yeah. So we've started to kind of have.
But having said that, would you like to move to Cork? Fuck off, Andrew. Is a conversation.
Yeah, I
technically.
said to her, she comes down to Cork with me quite a bit, and she loves it down there. Do you know what I mean? So like, and her family have been down as well to meet my
Right.
family and all that. And her dad said, "Oh, it's very progressive in the south."
Right.
And I went, correct. So so you never know what could happen.
Right. So she could move to Cork.
Well, yeah, like I'm very comfortable here. Like I feel very.
Yeah, how long have you been on the
4 years
650s?
now,
Right.
And I do like it.
Full time.
Here, 4 years by complete mistake.
Yeah. It's
Ne-
just, was it
no-
the love of a woman or just
Love of a woman, and fucking that love is tin now. Like, come on, let's go to Newton Ards. No. No, I'm only joking if you're.
I was going to say, what's wrong with Newton Ards?
It could have been Stravander.
It could have been
It could have been anything.
I met her. She's lovely.
Yeah, Julie's great.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, I met her at the Clanley Boy. Wasn't she at the
Yeah,
gig in
she
Clanley?
comes to the yard. She's very good. She's very like, oh, you're going to work.
Yeah.
She's not interested in the whole, you know what I mean? She's like, oh, you're off to work.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm going to work. I don't say I've got a gig tonight. I'm off to work.
Right.
So we kind of have a good balance.
Right, and she doesn't feel the need to come and see
No,
you
like
again.
I didn't on the tour I did there. She came to one. She came to two shows.
That's all right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and then after the second
Not
time,
impressed
second
anymore.
time she said, "Oh, you're still doing the same jokes." I was like, "Yeah."
Yes, I had that. Yes.
Have you had that as well?
Yes, I'm doing the same joke. We did it only a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Random
Yeah.
entirely new show.
Exactly.
Just to entertain you.
Yeah, like and I
Yeah,
like,
why is that about comedians? Comedians get that all the time. I get it as well. And, do you know? But bands don't get it.
well, see,
That's not
bands
fair.
is different. It's an I think, but
You're playing the same songs. I've heard this.
yeah, but the music has a different beat for a for a person than it does a joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you've
So
heard
like
joke
a
before,
joke, if you
can-
heard a joke before, there's no element of surprise. I think with a song can mean something different. A
Yeah.
joke isn't going to mean something. Oh, I like to get one of my favorite jokes at the moment is Gary Delaney. And you know Gary
Oh,
Delaney.
no,
Gary
Gary,
Delaney's
yeah.
one of my favorite jokes.
one-liner.
And I tell everyone, I always have a joke of a week, but they're never my jokes. But I tell people in the pub, or,
Right, yeah.
"Oh, I've got one for you,
Yeah.
right?" Gary's this joke. My girlfriend's dog died, so I decided to get her a dog exactly the same. So what's she going to do now with 2 dead dogs? Right? That's a Gary
good.
Delaney joke. That is
Perfect.
not my joke.
joke,
It's on
yeah.
the internet, so I'm not stealing it, right? So I think that's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah, it is.
But if I went and Gary did that joke, I've heard it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I go see a band, I'm like, that joke doesn't mean anything to me. That joke is just a quick impact.
Yeah.
Whereas a song can tell a story about my life and where I was feeling at the time, and it's all about rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Gary,
Well, you know.
Gary is a master, though. He's a master.
I used to gig with Gary loads when I was in England, and I had some absolute
We
belters.
had him
Like,
on the blame game.
he's brilliant,
He's brilliant, and he doesn't. Does he fly now? He didn't used to fly. So
well, no, he never flew for years. No, he didn't. He doesn't fly. I don't know. I don't know. I think I heard that he was saying that he went and got hypnosis. He
Yeah.
won't fly. Dennis Bergkamp doesn't fly.
Does
That's
he
right.
not?
That's
former
right. That's
former
right.
Arsenal footballer doesn't fly. Dennis Bergkamp, yeah,
And remember that they had put him on a boat for the World Cup.
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
To
Like
Japan.
Yeah, to Japan. He had, like, it was
people
like,
have these
yeah.
weird sort of like you think why it's so safe.
Yeah.
Like flying is so safe. You know what I mean? Like unless you're on Malaysia Airlines or something like that. Like you know what I mean? But like.
Yeah.
Is that too soon? Have they found that one yet?
Too soon.
What was that 2010 or something?
Yeah. Or,
Sorry about that.
yes, flying over a war zone. Yeah. No. Gary Delaney, great. What's my favourite Gary Delaney joke? Oh yeah, the young couple next door have made a sex tape or making a sex. Oh, balls it up.
The young couple next door are making a sex tape. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary, I ballsed up your joke. He's very, very.
Oh, he's very good. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
Who else do you love? What comedians do you like at the moment?
Oh,
who
I
would
go
you
through
recommend? 'Cause you
phases. I
mentioned a
don't.
couple of
I
names.
don't have a favorite comedian. I think different comedians at different times in your life can impact you differently.
Yeah.
You know, so like I really love a guy in England called Tom Ward. He's around the same age as me. Very inventive, very creative. I was working with him recently. He's really good. I really love Joe Caulfield,
Right. Yeah.
who's actually from Strabane, would you believe?
Joe Caulfield.
Joe
from-
Caulfield, yeah, she's got her Irish passport. She talks about it on stage. Her mum and dad are from Strabane,
Right.
and she comes from a mixed marriage, and they obviously left back
Right,
then
yeah.
and moved to Scotland, and so she's always she always goes to she's always hanging out. She's always in Strabane seeing her cousins and stuff. I love Joe Caulfield and Bill Burr, obviously up there for me. I really liked Patrice O'Neill, Dylan Moore, and all the usual hits. But there's a lot of comics that I probably work with a lot that I see that don't obviously appear, on the mainstream sort of stuff, but they do their own stuff online.
It's changed world, isn't it? From our day. I mean, we're 60 now, but we had the old model of starting theatre. You do gigs. Then we got a radio break and we got a radio series. that did
Brilliant,
very
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Then the radio series went so well, they went, do you want a bit of TV? And you landed because you had TV. Now, you don't even need TV.
Well, you see, yes, I think I like to think that I was able to cross both because when I started out, there was no Facebook was like I got Russell Howard's Good News in 2013 on BBC Three. That was massive.
Yeah, that was big.
Like
yeah.
Russell Howard's Good News, and then off the back of that, then I got like Live at the Comedy Store at Comedy Central. I did 2 series of that. I died so bad. I'll never forget the night I did the Comedy Store Live at the Comedy Central. I'm an Irish guy, moved to England, and I'm getting on English TV. I was like, this is mental. Like, I was, this is great. And I remember doing the gig, and I died horrifically. And I finished the gig, and I said to my agent, I was like, that can't go out. Like, that was one of the worst nights of my life. I'll never forget the sweat. Like,
Why? What went wrong? Because normally, I
just couldn't do it.
Was it the audience?
I buckled.
You buckled.
I just buckled.
Yeah.
I lost all rhythm. I lost all timing. I forgot what I was saying. I had to stop.
And why was it? Was it just 2 jokes?
I
And you went,
put
"This
myself.
isn't
I just
working"?
put myself under a lot of pressure, And then I said to the producer, "Can I come back? Because we're filming every Monday for like 6 weeks, like 10 acts a night." And I said, "Can I come back next Monday and record one?" No, that looks great. It looks great. And I went, it didn't fucking feel great, right? Because we're in the business of reaction, and
of
I
course.
got fucking no reaction, right? So 15 minutes, edited down to 2 4-minute bits. My bit was 2 minutes 10 seconds. So I didn't even get to 2 slots.
Right.
I got half of one.
You got half of one.
And did the dub laughs in for you?
And there is a laughter track in it, yes.
Yeah.
So that's how bad that was. And then I got a couple of more bits, and I realised I panicked and I did really shit. And I was starting to get like TV breaks in England. Channel 4 made a set for me on a pilot of a show that I was doing, and I just couldn't do it. And the reason why I couldn't do it is, I genuinely, and this is what I say to a lot of people who are doing it now, I didn't have the stage time. I didn't have the craft. I didn't have the experience to cope, because I wanted something so much that when I was getting opportunities, I couldn't understand how to deal with it or process. I didn't have the behaviours. So what I would do is I'd overthink something, and when I was overthinking it, I ended up pushing it away.
Right.
And so I ended up losing a few opportunities. So I was on the circuit, and I just went, you know what? I signed with Off the Curb agency, and they said to me, this is what we think you should do. You should just sit on the circuit for 3 years and just become a solid comedian. And I did that, and 3 years turned into 4 or 5, and then I didn't really get any opportunities because people were like, "Oh, we worked with Andrew; he doesn't really seem to be able to do it," and I had to kind of go in and relearn. I went to therapy and everything to try and figure out why I was panicking on stage, and then at around 2016, I just kind of figured out a new way of doing it, a new style, and then opportunities over time then started to come back.
Wow!
Because it was like 2 different comedians.
So it was but it was the cameras that were setting you up.
Yeah, no, what it was, I was so into it. I was I lived and breathed it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'd get up in the morning and I would just become obsessed with comedy to the point where I had no life. Like, I got a job working in a comedy club at weekends. I was working 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. Right. Friday night, I finished work at 5. At 6 o'clock, I'd serve pints at the Frog and Bucket in Manchester. Right. So I could watch the show because the bar was in the theatre. So I would just serve the pints, watch the show, serve the pints, watch the show. And then on a Saturday, I would do the same thing again. And I would get to see comedians perform in front of different crowds. So you could watch a comedian on a Friday night absolutely be amazing. And then on a Saturday night, they wouldn't laugh at him with the same jokes. Yeah. And I kind of would study it. But what happens is I got into it too much.
Yes.
I started to forget why he was doing it.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You forgot how to be funny.
Yeah, I was going on stage with like, this has to work. And I was like, no, because if you're not relaxed,
so your
they're not
head,
relaxed.
you were analysing every single line and why they're not reacting to that, and they're not going to like the next one.
And one of the reasons why I think the last sort of like, even before the pandemic, things were starting to go really well again, and then obviously the pandemic, pause. Yeah. Was I started to stop giving a shit.
Yeah.
So I've actually but I still care. But I care.
No, but to enjoy yourself.
I don't care about the outcome now as much as I used to.
Right.
And because I stopped caring about that, things went better. Because I realised I can't control that. So once you stop worrying about what you can't control,
right,
and you just focus on what you can control and relax, what'll be will be,
But it is the stage time. You need that time on stages all across the UK, which we were always Northern Ireland and all that. But you have that time. You can go, I could bring you up and say, look, could you do 20 minutes tonight?
I've done nearly every club in England 3 times.
Really?
Right. Yeah, so I've done 15 years of circuit in England.
15 years?
15 years of circuit, and I've played probably nearly every club. Now, of the last 5 or 6 years, I haven't, because new clubs popped up and I've been over here and stuff like that. But I spent the last 2 weekends in London hosting the Comedy Store.
Yes.
So I finished a 56-day tour on a Sunday, and then the following Thursday I went over to London and just did 2 clubs, 2 weekends. So I did 8 shows. And normally people are like, why are you going to take a break? And I like it. But I've stopped. But I'm very lucky that I can sell tickets under my name.
Yeah.
And I was very conscious about making sure that I sold more tickets outside of Northern Ireland than I did here. Mm-hmm. So I sold really well in England and down south as well. So
you'd have a bit of a name in England. Would you sell out? What sort of cedar theatres would you sell out in England?
So like in Glasgow, I'll do 400 and 500 seats.
Wow. Okay.
Manchester, I did 350. Leicester Square, I did 400 in central London. Then I would do Brighton, 100 seats. Right. Aberdeen, Liverpool, it varies, And then up here, you do well up here. Then down south, I did 5 sellouts in Cork.
Right.
I've done in the past, Everyman's, which are 600 seats, So it varies, it just varies,
But you still love it, and you still kind of. I didn't see your solo show, but I've seen you live lots of times, and the solo show is something that's basically an hour, 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I go out at the top and I do 10 to 15 minutes, and then there's a support act that does 15, and then I go out and do about an hour and 5. Wow. Yeah.
What's happening in Northern Ireland at the minute? Because we, as I say, we're Isle Hands. We had the TV show and stuff like that, and then we kind of got into. I started doing stand up off the back of that because I had no background in stand up whatsoever. But when we first started, I think there was us, there was Colin Murphy, there was Patrick Keelty,
Yeah.
and there were older guys, like we're talking Roy Walkers and stuff, who went to England and stuff. Then there's a large gap before there's any kind of presence now. Then you've got the likes of Shane Todd, Mickey Bartlett, Colin Geddes, that has just gone from nothing to up
Well,
there.
you see, I would say that you guys would have played a big part of that as well. So I wouldn't be kind of like saying, "Oh, we're old farts today." People like yourself, Colin and Patrick, would have influenced a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? So like there would have been a lot of people that would have. I remember going to see Colin Murphy before I was a comedian. Like, you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I remember. Patrick Keelty doing Late Late spots. I remember Kevin McAleer on the Late Late Show. I remember, Dylan Moran sitting next to Gabe Byrne. That's how I was introduced to comedy when I was about 7. There's a radio show in Ireland used to be called Scrap Saturday.
Oh, I
remember
remember
Scrap Saturday,
Saturday,
yeah.
Dermot Morgan, right?
Yeah.
And my dad used to drive me down to Gaelic football training. And my dad, I remember one particular day, he drove the car down and he pulled the car over because he couldn't stop laughing. Now, it was Dermot Morgan doing Mara, which was Charlie Hoy's.
Yep, I remember it.
Mara, come in here. The government, the people of Paris need to meet Charlie Hoy, right? Now, I obviously did not understand politics, but he put Charlie Hoy as a pig in a farm, and all the other politicians were different animals. And I didn't get it, but I remember my dad going, "This is hilarious." And this was radio comedy now, so we only had about 3 or 4 stations.
that's right,
And
yeah.
we're talking like
Cambridge
early
and-
'90s, right?
Yeah.
And I actually thought to myself, "What is this?
Yeah.
Well, like, what is this that my dad is doing?" Now, I didn't have the best relationship with my dad, but I realised I was the youngest of 4, and I didn't grow up in the most peaceful house, and so a lot of the time for me to create.
People throwing dinky toys in the fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Mum
Push
throwing
down,
you down manholes,
viciously throwing down manholes in County Westmeath. But I would have used comedy as a bit of a tension to diffuse situations and stuff. And then when I got to around 10 or 11, I got introduced to some Saturday night telly. Bruce Forsyth, Michael Barrymore, Strike It Lucky. And this guy, Michael Barrymore, who was hosting a show called Strike It, and he was hilarious with the contestants. And I would kind of like get into that kind of stuff and watch that kind of stuff. And then the odd comedian would appear on the Late Late if I was allowed to stay up late. And then things like Father Ted, Black Books, Blackadder, all the stuff that came from that. And then as soon as I saw Father Ted, that was the only thing I ever wanted to do, was comedy. And then I did my first gig when I was 14.
Did you? 14?
Yeah, 14 years of age. I stole a load of Billy Connolly jokes. And I stood up in the fireplace of my house safely and to all my aunts and uncles, and I told loads of jokes.
Right.
And they all laughed for about, a minute. And then about a week later, I was at christening. I did the same
Did you
again.
do a Scottish accent? or
I
you do
did,
them
yeah.
in a
I was doing I was trying. I can't really remember, but I remember my brother did say to me afterwards, "You've made a complete fucking idiot of yourself." and I just went, "That's what I needed." And then the next time I did a gig, I was 25. You know what I mean? So there you go.
But that's funny because when we first started, we were doing bad English accents because we were brought up in Python, Monty Python, and stuff like that.
So
We
I got
were
into-
doing
I got it-
sketches.
I got it-
You had to do an English accent because that's the only
funny.
people who did.
Yeah.
I got into sitcom comedy starting because I was too young to go to clubs.
Yeah.
And then when I went to clubs, 16, 17, I used to sneak into City Limits.
Right.
And I would see, just Irish acts, and then the odd Ardal O'Hanlon, Ed Byrne, Steve Hughes, or whatever. Maybe not Steve Hughes, but a few other people. Anyway, I became addicted to it. And I would go out and buy the VHSs. And then I got really into Eddie Izzard. Definite Art to Kill, Dress to Kill. Watched them on VHS, and I would learn the routine and the mannerisms and all that, and then it just escalated. Then, that was it. Like my hobby. I went to England. I don't want to go into it too much, but I needed to get out of home, and I went to England and I had some family over there, and I follow Manchester United, and I ended up getting a season ticket. So I went to Man United for 5 years, and I got a job working in a bank. And when I was in Ireland at 19, I was the youngest private investigator working in Ireland. I used to work as a private investigator. I used to do surveillance on people who had fraudulent insurance claims.
You were a private
I was,
investigator.
I was the youngest private investigator in Ireland, when I was 19.
So hang on, what did you do?
So I did surveillance on people who had suspected fraudulent insurance claims, and I did the odd affair as well.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you do the affair? Yeah.
And I was really bad at it, and it was the worst job I've ever done. And when people say to me like, "You're such a bullshitter, Angie, you were never a private investigator," well, I can show you Google, I can show you the company I work for,
Right.
and I have like evidence.
And what did you wear?
So,
Huh?
What did you wear?
Just my normal clothes.
No, not hat. No.
No, it's not Hawaii 5-0.
dark glasses.
It is the most boringest thing you'll ever
So,
do.
are you sitting outside a council house in Manchester?
Yeah, so I'll
at
give you an
2
example.
o'clock in the morning.
Well,
waiting
I'll
for-
give you a quick how it would work, right?
Yeah.
So we would get a case. Tim McGarry was in a car crash, and Tim is claiming 50 grand for injuries from the car crash.
Right.
But from the minute you put that claim in to the minute that goes out to a tribunal or
Right.
court, it could be a year and a half, 2 years.
You
right?
see me at my ballet class.
Yeah, so
and you
basically,
go,
exactly.
no.
Now you got to remember when I was doing that, it was before social media. It was
course.
Right, so
flip
people
phones.
weren't
We had
posting them.
like, the
Being
phone,
stupid, yeah.
the phones we had were Nokia 3210s. So
Yeah.
we're talking 2001.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had Minolta cameras and all this, long lens and short lens and all that. And then what we would do is Tim lived in number 17 Hollywood Avenue. And we would go down around 5 a.m., 2 cars in the drive. We'd take the regs. We'd get the regs checked, see which one's Tim's cars, which one's his wife or partner or kid or whoever. And then we just sit there near his house. One person would be in the estate, one would be outside. Go, 8 o'clock, Tim's up. He walks into the car, drives down to the petrol station, gets the bread, the milk, take a few pictures of him. Goes back home, and we're like, he's sitting at home now. But now his thing says that he can't walk.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And we caught fellas claiming 100 grand and they can't walk, and we caught them playing five-a-side. We caught a fella in Limerick, bedbound, on top of his roof, lifting a bat. And we take the pictures, they go to court, case gets thrown out, your premium doesn't increase.
Right. Oh, thank you very much. So,
Yes, yeah.
you're very.
That's very generous of you.
I used to go to court and give evidence and everything as well.
Did you?
Oh, I got told off by a judge once
Why?
I've been a lawyer.
because I didn't answer the question to him. I was supposed to answer the question to the judge. No one fucking told me that.
That's right.
So I go
I
in.
ask you a question. You
Yeah,
throw
so
over
you're
it.
the defense lawyer or whatever.
I put it to you, Mr. Ryan.
And there was one job we were doing where it was a car park. There was a load of, you go to a shopping centre, there's a car park, right? But there's lots of different shops in the shopping centre. So they'll all have to pay a certain proportion of rent
Right.
for the spaces,
okay.
based on the divided of the pro rata. But obviously this car park, you go in, it was like a minimum of a pound or a euro, and then first 30 minutes free, and then after 30. Whatever the complicated thing was. But this company, there was one company in there, the owner of the land was disputing it with one of the businesses, and they'd fallen out. And they had said something, he was turning off the fucking machine because he wanted customers to come in. He thought the charge was
Oh, actually.
not
put them off,
encouraging
yeah.
customers
Yeah,
to
yeah.
come to the. So he would go up and turn off the parking machine and lift the flap and let the customers come in for free. But the owner of the land was never obviously there all the time.
Right.
A big businessman, like.
Yeah.
So he was saying, I'm losing income now because of what you're doing, and
Yeah, yeah.
this. It went to court.
Right.
So my job was to go into the car park and use the car park on 3 occasions to see was the door up or
Yeah,
down?
yeah.
Was the
barrier.
the barrier up or
Yeah.
down? So I would go in, first time, barrier was down, so I'd open it. I have to kill a half an hour, go to the machine, pay the euro, just drive out. Second time I go in, do that. So a period over 3 visits over, say, 10 days to get an average. That's the kind of way it worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, the barrier was down all the time. So that was good for the... That wasn't good for the guy
Yes,
owning the
yeah.
land.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember sitting on the thing, and it was brilliant. Like, I don't know if you ever given evidence in court.
Never.
It's
Never.
fucking class.
I won't
And I
give
got
evidence in
really,
court.
really addicted to going to court because once I realised that the court is a public gallery.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
so some days after Q Radio, I potter over to Lagan Courts.
Do you?
I go to Lagan, yeah. I think it's the 3rd floor. Family Court's the 4th floor. I don't go to Family Court.
Don't go
now.
to family court. You don't wanna go.
So I've seen a couple of
That's
murder
miserable.
trials. I've seen a few murder trials. I could just go in and sit in and bring a packed lunch. Like, there was a Crown Court in St Albans where I lived. I saw a guy get 15 years for arson.
Right.
And it was mad crack. He'd come in handcuffed to G4 security.
Yes.
And he was crying. He goes, it wasn't me. I was like, the fucking evidence was clear. Like, anyway, I go into this court in Cork. I was in the district court.
Right.
Yeah.
District now would be mid-level, like Europa League. And I went in and I was called as a witness. And now we have Mr. Ryan. I was like, hello. And now, Mr. Ryan, you visited the premises on the following dates. I was like, I did, yeah. And then the judge goes, Mr. Ryan, when you were answering the question, can you answer to me? I went, of correct. Yes, sorry. And then the guy asked me again, and he goes, "So, can you just confirm your full name, Mr. Andrew Ryan?" No, you've asked the judge. Sorry, but he asked, "Oh, Mr. Andrew Ryan, Mr. Andrew Ryan." I just kept on going. So he said to me, "Are you visited on the 2nd of April?" I goes, "Correct." I started answering twice. I was panicked. So then he goes, "Okay." He goes, "Okay. When you're asked a question, just one answer and to the judge." And I went, right. So I started again, right? The guy on the other table was like this. There was a guy on the other table. He must have been in his 50s. He just went, you know, way like he was embarrassed for me. And I was only 19, and I was there going, right. And then he goes, "So when you approached, on your statement, it says you approached the barrier was down." I went, yeah. You know, like, and then I did that. And then as I looked back at Jamal, I went, "I got it now." I actually said, "Got it now." And then he'd do another question. Now, I was on the stand for, I'd say, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes in total. Yeah. And I didn't want to get off. I was sitting there going,
it's like a gig.
I was like going, maybe I am guilty, yeah. You know, like, I loved that. All the eyes on you. And I thought, I'm a narcissist. Like, this is fucking brilliant crack. So I think they did an out-of-court settlement in the end. That was what I was told. Right. But anyway, that was it. But yeah, I did that job.
So you see the insurance companies on the go, Tim McGarry, 50
yeah.
grand. Do they do that as a matter of course then to everybody? Or
Oh,
do they
most
need
people.
suspicion?
Depends on the claim, like.
Do they need suspicion or they just go...
Yeah, well, everyone gets checked. But if you're
gets checked?
if you're putting in a big claim saying you're not... Basically, if you're saying...
Just making a mental note, just for the future.
Well,
That's
no.
okay.
Say, for example,
how long would they do it for, say, if I was...
If you've got a claim in, your solicitor should say to you, it's the type of claim. If you were in a car crash, you lost your leg. Well, we can clearly prove you lost your fucking leg. Like,
Yeah.
But if you're saying like, it has affected my mental health. Okay, how's it impacted you? Well, I can't socialise with my friends anymore. I can't leave the house. My anxiety, and then you fucking
party in my house.
We had a guy go on holiday.
Yeah.
He went to Cork. He was going on holiday. Lanzarote. Bloke couldn't leave his house. You know what I mean?
It was like,
But he just needed the sun. That's all he needed.
You know, so like it's basically, it was a shit job. Like it still gets done today, but you wouldn't really know now because the technology is actually so much more advanced.
Plus, people are fucking idiots.
Yeah, but you do. But do you get the odd affair then as well? Like they call in, like say, would you do a foxer at the weekend, which is like cash job, like
a
foxer, like you know, like an electrician would do a bit of cash job at the weekend, like it's called a foxer, like, and so and so suspects the husband, and she's paying like a couple of £100 a day, and be two cars on him for the day, and he's going to the gym, but he's not coming back looking better, like. You know what I mean? I'm in the gym tonight. He's going around someone else's house and slipping it in. Like,
is that depressing or is that fun? Or is that...
I did one affair job, yeah. But my mate only used to do affairs. Like he loved affairs. Like,
and I take it they were usually correct in their.
The one I did. Well, I did 1.5. So I kind of like I did one full job, and then I spent half a day on another job. But the one job we did. We caught the guy, like in a hotel. Right. But they were sitting down.
Did you confront the guy?
No, we don't do nothing.
No,
we don't. They don't even know we're there.
You just produce the evidence.
We just go back and go, look, he went to this place. Here's a picture of his car in the car park, the timestamp. He sat at the bar with a lady who was blonde. And then they'll try, if it's safe to get a picture, you get a picture. But most of the time you can't get a picture indoors with other people, you know. Right. So what you do is you just describe the situation, what he was wearing, what time he left at. And then that'll all match up. And the wife will be like, he'll come home and say to the wife, the wife would say to him, like, "Oh, where were you tonight? I was playing tennis with the lads." "No, you weren't. You were fucking in the hotel because I got photographs of your car in the hotel." Oh. So if you're lying anyway, you're fucked. Like, anyway. So it's good crack, like.
Oh God!
Can I just say that was in 2001? So don't come at me.
No, you're okay now. That's all right. No, the worst part of that story was you said you were a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
That's I stopped listening after that.
Yeah.
Are you a big football fan? Are you?
Big soccer. Yeah, I have 4 sports.
4?
Yeah, I only do 4. Right. I have 4 sports, and I have a system. So
of course you have,
a
Andrew.
system of
You're obsessed with comedy.
Yeah,
you
have to
give evidence in court.
So I nearly had a 5th sport, but I didn't have the time for it.
Well, your 4 sports are
soccer, hurling,
great sport.
Rugby.
Yeah, not so good.
And golf.
Table tennis.
Golf.
Oh, golf. That's right.
Yeah. So for example, soccer is number 1 in terms of visual sport. Right. In terms of watching. so I'll watch as many games as I can on a week.
Right.
Golf, I follow the DP Tour and the PGA in America. I don't like live golf. But I'll only follow that golf from a Saturday and Sunday. I won't do the Thursday and Friday rounds.
Right.
But I'll check it on the app.
Right.
Hurling, I only go when the Munster Championship is on. I'll have a look at the league at the odd time, but I'll only go with the hurling. I don't get interested in the football till the quarterfinals of the All Ireland.
Right.
And then the rugby, I will obsessively be interested in Irish rugby and the provinces. So,
And the provinces?
And like on Saturday now, I'm going to go and watch
Kingspan.
Ireland, France, Women's Six Nations.
Women's Six
Yeah, I'll
Nations.
go and watch that. Julie, my partner, she loves rugby as well, so we're going to go and watch that. And then I'll go to Six Nations game. I had tickets to I had flights and hotel to the Rugby World Cup final booked, but obviously we didn't make it, so I didn't go. I was going to go over without tickets, and in 2027 I'm going to go to Australia for the Rugby World Cup.
Do you have a spreadsheet for this? Do
No,
you go,
but I have a system.
Hang on, whoa, I can't watch the rugby. I have to check the hurling results.
Yeah,
here.
so basically
I
what
would
I'll
know-
do is I'll design my week based around what I can and can't watch.
Right.
Yeah, so
you'll do that in advance. You
Yeah,
go
so
on Sunday
Ireland.
night
So
and go.
tonight, this has been recorded now. So tonight, Ireland are playing in the Nations League. I can't watch that tonight because I'm working.
Right.
So, but I'll record it. Like,
And will you allow anybody to tell you, or will you keep it completely?
oh no, I'll check the scores as I go along. I'm past those days. Like.
Oh, you passed that?
Yeah, I don't mind the score as I go along, but
Oh,
I'll watch
okay.
the extended highlights or something like that.
Right.
But then I'll study and then I've every single Man United fixture in my
And
calendar.
you
up
have
to
a
the end of the season.
permanent partner. That you just,
Yeah.
she-
Would she rather me gamble and fucking do drugs, mate? Tim? Would she rather me out fucking other women? Where's Andrew?
No.
He's watching his fucking golf, mate. Isn't that a good position to be in?
The other question is watching golf. How do you watch golf? Like, it's
Rory
a sky.
McIlroy just blew the wind.
It's just sky. It's shots of sky. They hit it up in the air, and it's a sky shot. What the?
You haven't lived, mate. I play golf as well. I play as well.
I
Like,
played golf years ago, but like.
yeah, and you
but-
gave up, did you?
I did
Yeah,
give
because you
up,
couldn't
yeah.
get on board with it.
No, tennis. You see, tennis is a better game.
See, tennis is for middle class wankers. Like.
Well, that's true
Oh,
too.
whose
Well,
fucking
well,
parents? Whose
from
fucking
somebody
parents?
plays golf.
Whose fucking
Somebody
parents?
plays golf.
Golf has a working class element.
Where's that? What, the big fairway and all, with the greens and everything?
What, slacks?
Entry to
Pringle-
golf.
Diamond
Pringle
jumpers.
jumpers.
The barriers to entry to golf are less than the barriers of entry to tennis.
No.
Okay. Explain that one.
I don't have to.
Do you not need a...
Oh, God.
Have you ever played at Royal County Down? Have you-
I've played there. I'm playing there again in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. Do
I
you not
played
have to be... Do you not have to be...
I play with a member. I know a guy who's a member.
Oh, you know somebody.
He gets
who's a
me in on
member.
the sly. Like I've done Port Rush a couple of times.
Yes.
Port Stewart. Oh, up here is brilliant. It's just
I did a
unfortunate.
gig at Royal Belfast. Do you remember Royal Belfast?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awfully nice round.
I tried to
The
become a
entries-
member.
Yeah.
As well, and hey, let's just say, hey, they laughed at me, but not in the right way, baby. I don't think I'd be. They were looking at me going, yeah, good luck.
So did they ask you, was it your accent? Was it the car you drove? What was the problem?
No, I just there was like no.
Don't even go there.
No, they didn't know who. They didn't. I just sent an email in. How do you become a member? And they sent out the process of becoming a member. And I went,
yes.
oh, I would have a better chance winning the 100 meters Olympics gold medal in the next Olympics than getting into Royal Belfast. Like, good luck to them. It's a lovely course. And
Have
nice-
you,
nice people.
so Man United, your team, do you
Yeah,
go to local football? Do you want me to take you to Cliftonville? I'll take
I've been
you to
I've been up to the ground, Clifton.
Yeah, Solitude, yeah. Oldest club in Ireland.
I'll be honest
one
with
of
you. No.
No.
I don't really take an interest in the Irish League. I take an interest in the League of Ireland. My nephew's in Cork City Academy. He's goalkeeper captain in the under-14s. He's been over to England a few times playing against Man United and Liverpool and a few things. I've done some fundraisers for Cork City and Cove Ramblers teams in
Right.
Cork to raise money for the clubs. I take more of an interest in the League of Ireland. I took an interest in Larne when they were in the conference when they
European,
played the European. I had a bit of a look at that very briefly. And then, but no, I don't take an interest in the Irish League. I have too much on.
You have too
I can't
much
take
on.
on any more.
I worry
Too
about
much
you.
football.
I have too much on, and it's not. I'm not being disrespectful to the Irish League, but
No.
it's not on my radar to get
Right.
emotionally involved with that.
Okay. So you've all your gigs, you've your spreadsheet for your sport.
Yeah,
You're getting married, and we're allowed to dance.
I get married. Yeah,
you're
as
getting
well.
married.
Yeah.
And I think you do material about
And
your,
do you know
your
that
partner
like
is
you know that I booked the wedding based on the sports fixtures?
No.
I did. Yeah.
Seriously?
So what I did was I went through Champions League final, rugby, autumn series. I said, so that rules out those dates. All Ireland. So I deliberately did it on did it on a Friday because if it was All Ireland games were on the Saturday and on the Sunday for the hurling, if there was anything like that.
Right.
So this is one thing that bride and grooms don't do, is that they
don't
book
do
weddings
enough.
without checking the sports fixtures. I got invited to a wedding on the same night as the Champions League once, right? And it was a Saturday. It was when Champions League used to be a Wednesday, and they moved it to Saturdays, right? And it was one of the first Champions League. And I texted the groom and I said, "I'm, heads up, like, but I know it's 6 months out, but like the Champions League finals in
I know I'm the best man, but
no,
it's,
but
you
yeah,
know.
but the Champions League finals in like that. It's on the day of your wedding. Like, will there be? Like, will there be
facilities
will there be a
for-
telly there? Like." And he replied, goes, smiley face, like, yeah, good one. Like, and I went, I don't think you're taking me seriously here. Like,
How close were you to the groom with this?
close, like, it's my cousin, like. And, so,
You weren't going to go to your cousin's.
yeah, so I actually rang the hotel.
You rang.
See if
Rang
they
the
don't tell
hotel,
you.
yeah. I said, is there any way you can put the Champions League on? They were like, well, in the bar, not the function bar,
Right.
but the hotel, do you know the way you have a
Yeah,
function
yeah.
bar? There'll be a screen down there, and I went, great.
Right.
So
okay.
a few of us nipped out and watched it.
Right, so-
In and out, like, pretending we were chatting,
Yeah. All right. So you had to sneak in and
Sneak
out. You
in and
couldn't
out,
watch
yeah.
it properly. Then.
Yeah, but
No.
it's very disrespectful to book a wedding
It is.
It is.
on,
actually,
like,
yeah.
Tour de France, All Ireland,
Come on,
Six
Tour de
Nations.
France. Tour de France.
Six
Last for
Tour
2
de
weeks.
Well, now we've got cycling in now.
No, but I like a bit of Eurosport Tour de France.
Right.
Okay.
They're
like a
coming
bit-
to Scotland. Tour de
That's
France
right, going
is
to
coming.
Edinburgh. From Edinburgh.
You can't
know.
just guys on bikes. We had that.
Yeah, but they're a good target, like.
You didn't give a speech there. You went to your cousin's wedding. You allowed
Yeah,
them to
but
go
like, I
ahead.
will,
You didn't say, listen.
Yeah,
This is
there's nothing worse. There's nothing
to
worse than getting invited to a wedding on the final day of the Six Nations. Like. That's just irresponsible.
It is a wee bit actually. Because I was actually at a christening once, and there was it was a big Ireland match.
It's a fucking disgrace.
I know.
It's a fucking
and
disgrace.
It must have been the Japan one, and all these guys were sitting watching it on the phone. And I was going, "Fuck's sake, lads!" And every way through was, we baptized the child. Now here was, yes, fucking yes.
Yeah, well, mine ones, I'm getting married on a Friday to avoid sporting conflict.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I've planned it that way. And I said to Julie, I said, listen, I don't want to miss the game.
But there could be like Friday night. There are Friday night fixtures.
It's
in
only
the
one, though.
Premiership.
It's only one. I'll suck it up,
It's
man.
risky.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like, listen, it is what it is. We will take the hit.
Okay.
And she's okay with this, is she?
Yeah.
She is a saint. Well,
She's not a saint. No, she's got her own issues.
I think you've done material about it.
Can I just say
She
to
is
him?
an
Can I just say to him? I am incredibly easy to live with if you follow the rules.
Yeah, it's a thick rule book, Andrew. Isn't it?
No, it's kind of like I have a set
Are
way
you
of living.
slightly obsessive with them?
I would say I have a slight. It's been brought to my attention that it's not normal.
Right.
But then again, are they
no
doing it
further
right?
questions, Your Honour.
No, but
Not-
I just think I think people can be better.
Right. Think people can be better.
No, I think people can plan their lives better. Like
Right.
I plan my life pretty well.
Right.
But
Like,
do you have your own special spoon, like in your own fork?
No, none of that kind of stuff. No, the house is very clean now.
Yeah.
Right.
There has to be hoovered every second day.
By you, or-
Yeah, I hoover every second day, and like the washing has to be up to date.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's very. I've the cheapest tariffs for gas, electric, cheapest home insurance. Everything is meticulous. The spreadsheets.
Right.
I have. If I had my laptop, I'd show you. Like,
Thankfully, you don't.
but why would you not want to be organised?
This
I'm
woman,
totally disorganised and completely-
this very special woman, this very special.
She loves it,
woman,
man.
She loves it. She likes that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
she
it's
sat
like it
down
is
with
what
you
it
and
is.
went-
Like, I'm not doing any harm.
She
to
went
anyone.
down to you and said, our wedding, our most romantic day of my life, and go, oh, no, Champions League or the golf song.
Yeah, and I think the audience, the fact that people coming to the gig or the wedding, the gig, the people come to the wedding would respect me. Goes, listen, there's nothing. We're not missing out tonight. Andrew knows the score, like,
Right.
because all my friends are sports fans and
Right.
stuff.
Okay, no, I'm a sports
Do you know what I
fan
mean?
up
Like,
to a point. Like, no, yeah.
Right, so if Cliftonville are in the FA or in the Champions League final, and you're coming to my wedding, what are you going to
That
do
is
about that?
slightly unlikely.
There you go. There you go.
But no, I've
you see what I mean?
It's the 3rd of May is booked already. The 3rd of May,
Is
because
it?
Cliftonville could be in an Irish.
Right,
Cup
so if
final.
they were in an Irish Cup final on the 3rd of May and I was getting married and you were coming on the 3rd of May, what would you do, Mick? Or Mick, Tim. What would you do, Tim?
I wouldn't go to your wedding.
There you go.
Wouldn't
Proves
go
my
to your
point
wedding.
exactly.
No, but that's
Seriously?
Cliftonville.
No, but
You
you've
wouldn't go
proven.
to his wedding.
No, but
That's Clifton in the Irish Cup
You've
final.
just proven my point. Literally just proven my point.
Oh, no.
In the Irish Cup final. Yeah, but not for the fucking cycling or the hurling or the
But that's another person's cup final.
No, you can't have 10 cup finals.
But I have to cater to the audience. They're giving me money in the cards. Pay back the fucking wedding.
Oh, no. I can't believe you admit.
What?
There you go. But he's proved my point.
He has proved your
Yeah, but Clifton haven't been in an Irish Cup
That's not
final.
my problem.
They won on the 4th of May 2024. It's the best day of my life.
Is it?
Yeah, it was. No, I've been in a final where
your life?
we won a.
How many teams are in the FAI in the league up here?
12.
So they were just the best out of the 12. And that's a big thing.
No, it was a cup. So there were other teams from the lower divisions.
But sure, that's
The League Cup final. I went to the League Cup final.
You did.
I couldn't even see them lift the cup because I had to get in the car and drive to
But you
Omagh
saw
to
the
do a
final,
show.
like.
I was there for the final, but they couldn't
right. Can I ask you a
celebrate the
question?
final.
How would you feel if the whole island combined and had an All Ireland soccer league with Dundalk, Pats, Shamrock
Yeah.
Rovers,
Well, that's controversial for various reasons.
and
in
brought
that-
the two together, like golf and rugby
Yeah.
is all in one island? Would that happen?
Well,
No?
I've done a very good podcast on
Oh, did you? All right, okay.
Dan in the corner there is going to, because the soccer split in Ireland, of course, was the Southerners split from the
Yeah.
Northerners, the FAI, and it was all to do with less to do with the border and sectarianism or anything like that. It was more to do with Southern people objecting to the fact that the Belfast guys ran the whole organisation and kept picking
Right, okay.
Belfast people.
Why is Derry in the League of Ireland?
Derry's in the League of Ireland because it left the Irish League over security issues in the early 70s, and there were lots of riots around.
And they applied
Bogside,
to the League of
and,
Ireland
Yeah,
together.
they left the Irish League and then they applied to join, and they got a special dispensation from UEFA to play in the.
So Celtic could potentially join the League of Ireland.
I think the fact that Derry is close to the border.
No, but what I'm saying is that you can join another league if you get agreed and the
I don't-
dispensation.
Well, that happened. I mean, that's like Swansea and Cardiff, no.
Yeah.
They play in the
in
English
the
league.
English league.
Wrexham as well. They're in Wales, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Yeah,
In fact, Wales had to create their league because they were going to get into trouble. They were going to lose the Welsh team.
because they don't have a league.
Yeah.
They didn't have a league.
Create
Yeah.
the league to do that.
Wow.
You would know that being a sports fan.
No, they did accept the create. Not
Yeah.
that quite recently.
TNS are the team there, aren't they? They're always being
Yeah.
the team TNS. Yeah.
Yeah, Cliftonville played them in Europe.
Yeah.
Lost, I think.
Yeah. Cliftonville full time or
surprise.
part time? Are they
Part-time.
They're part time.
Part-time,
So like
yeah.
you're joiners in the day, plumbers in the day, and then
Yeah. The Joe the goal, the best goal scorer ever in the history of the Irish League. Well,
Yeah.
apart from some who've scored more than him. As a classroom assistant.
And what is it about Cliftonville that you love?
Well,
Do you
it's-
follow Cliftonville?
No, I don't follow Clifton. I don't follow Irish football.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Premier
partly,
League.
partly
Right.
because well, my uncle played for them and my father was the club doctor, so I have a family history with
yeah.
them for years. And
My
years.
my cousin won the Premier League with Blackburn Rovers.
Did you?
There
Your
you go.
First cousin, yeah.
Who was that?
Chris Malone. He's in the photograph with Alan Shearer, Chris Sutton,
Wow.
Colin Hendry, Tim Flowers. He never played one first team game.
Oh, he didn't play, but he's in the
He was in
photo.
he was in the squad, but he never played.
Oh, wow.
And then he ended up.
Did he get a medal then, or did you don't get a medal?
He didn't get a medal back then, but he ended up back at Shamrock Rovers and Dundalk, and he retired then later on. But he was in Blackburn for 5 years. It was
Wow.
20 grand. Kenny Dalglish bought him for 20 grand
Wow.
off Dundalk. Him, Shay Given, Damien Duff, Thomas Morgan, they all like lived in digs. He's in Shay Given's book.
Right.
Shay Given's autobiography. He's in his book, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'd be big, you know. I mean, that's the kind of sport I'm into. I just can't take on anymore.
You can't. No, you haven't. You have too much going on.
Yeah, I can't
When you get married? When is it?
September.
September.
Yeah.
We know. Yeah, right. Okay, and it's a Friday.
All
in
right, stop
September.
giving it away.
Well, we can work out the dates from the sporting fixtures. You can say that's the gap. There's the gap.
I wanted 9/11, but you know, cheer everyone up, like.
And you've done material about your lovely partner, who's an East Belfast.
Yeah, she's from the
Protestant-
British
oh,
side here. Yeah,
she's from
yeah,
the
yeah.
British side.
And I'm a nationalist. Well, I come from a very strong nationalist feeling. My grandfather was in prison for being a member of the IRA and
Was he?
stuff. And this is like my grandfather died in 1984, and he married when he was 40. He married my granny when she was 19, and he was 40
Right.
years old, and they had 13 kids.
13.
Yeah,
And he was
fucking
40 and he had 13.
13 kids,
He
and
started
he
with-
would have fought in around 1920, 1921.
Right.
He was in the 5th Brigade, Irish Republican Army. We used to have his certificate. He had a Magnum gun, Magnum 323. We actually had his gun. And he would cycle around on a bike and a little basket in front, and he had the paper and the bread, and he'd have his gun there.
Wow.
And he would do jobs for the IRA. Now, I don't know. All I was told was he was involved in a few things and he spent a bit of time away.
And was he treaty or anti-treaty?
Who treaty anti?
He was De Valera. He was anti-treaty, yeah.
Did he shoot Michael Collins?
No, but, you know... Okay, Tim. No, he didn't shoot Michael Collins.
He didn't shoot Michael Collins.
we all
Nobody
know
think
who
that
did
was a
though.
guy called Sonny O'Neill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
who ordered it though?
Who ordered it?
That's the fucking
Ah.
question.
Yeah, no.
The Brits.
I don't know. Right, listen, let's not get involved. now.
Lee Harvey Oswald, I think,
Yeah,
was in
it
the
is,
band.
yeah.
Grassy
So, you know, but yeah, my partner comes from a British side here, and quite frankly, I have zero interest in any and all that kind of crap.
Is that right?
I couldn't care what you are or who you are, so it don't
Well,
bother
you see,
me.
we're getting that way. Like when
It's
we
great.
used to-
Now, don't get me wrong, like I
it's-
take the mickey out of her over
Yes,
the odd thing.
I know, I've heard you
over
do
the
it on
odd thing. I
live,
do a
oh,
few
yes.
jokes about it.
Yeah.
And like she takes the piss out of me and stuff.
Yeah.
Like she was late meeting me for our second date because she was at Hillsborough paying her respects to the Queen.
Really?
And she didn't tell me for 6 months. Now, I had no problem with that, but I was like,
And it really
"Fucking hell."
fucked up your spreadsheet as well.
Yeah, like, I was like, she was like 15 minutes late. I said, she goes, oh, sorry, there's a bit of traffic. And then she told me 6 minutes. I was actually paying my respects to the Queen up at Hillsborough Council. And I just went, well, but I don't give a flying fuck. Like,
There's not many Cork men playing respects to the Queen.
I don't know, but I'm not. I wasn't. She was.
Yeah, I know. Not many
Yeah.
Cork men doing that. I'm saying that.
Well,
you
no,
wouldn't
I
have-
wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I know you weren't.
But you said there's not many Cork, but there's none. There's fucking none. Sorry, Tim. You're getting into dodgy ground here now.
Right. Okay.
No, but no, I don't care. And, you know, I went to an 11th of July barbecue this year and
Did you?
stuff.
Did
Yeah, I
you?
don't mind it. Like, yeah. A bit flaggy, like, but, you know, it's
It's been
grand, like.
flaggy.
It's a lot of bunt, a bit too much bunting. Like. Do you know what I mean?
Smoky as well.
I don't mind. Like, I don't. I like I have a brother-in-law, future brother-in-law, like, and he's served in British Army and does all this kind of stuff. And I actively like want to hang out with him because he's like such a nice fella. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I am very. I have like.
You're bringing the
I don't
people
really-
of the island together, aren't you?
Do you know what it is? Like, I have. What I have, you know, like I have my beliefs about this place, and I think, but I also think that like there's room for everybody, and I think there's a lot more in common than there isn't. There's a lot more in common than divides us, and I can't comment about here because I didn't grow up here, and I would never have an opinion on what people's experiences and life experiences are. All I can do is look, I'm here now. This is my experience now, as of today, based on the work that the people have done in the past here to make it a place that I feel incredibly safe and very welcoming. And I love the place, and you know, I like the people. The people are great. There's great resilience here from all sides, not just British, Irish, French, Polish, whoever lives here. I couldn't care less what you are once you're a decent person, because there are thousands of people like me living in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, London, Manchester, Irish. And you can still be Irish in Britain. You can be Irish in Australia. You can still be British in Ireland. You can still, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, and I just think it's kind of like, I often find living here that this place should be a lot further on than it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is elements of the people who work in the political game here that they cling on to old things of the past, when actually, you know, this place should probably be, to me, it's a bit 20 years behind sometimes. Politically, aesthetically, investment-wise, you know what I mean? The way it looks, you know, it needs a bit of an upgrade.
I know what aesthetically
Right.
means.
No, sorry. If that came across patronising,
No,
I
no,
do
no,
apologise.
that's okay.
Right.
Well,
It's
no,
your
it's
lot
because you
that
used
are
to-
causing the problems.
Well, we used to be 100 years behind when we
Yeah,
20
so
now.
that's good.
No, but I also think the South are, some elements of the South can be quite ignorant to this place, and I don't think they give it enough attention.
Totally.
And I do agree, and I think it's great that people like, it's only tiny little things, even like Keelty, a lot more northern voices
Yeah.
on RTE,
Yeah.
and from all sides. And and I have people in my family who have never been to the north,
Yeah.
and to this day still won't come up because they're like, fuck it, I'm not going up there.
Yeah.
And it really annoys me.
Yeah.
And it really annoys. And my brother never come up here in his whole life. 50 years, 49 years old, married, 3 kids, can't get enough of the place. And it's like, guys, come on, like, it's not what you envisage. The people are great. There's, you know, I don't know how to solve the shite. I don't, like, I'm not a guy to sit here and go, this is what you gotta do. I don't know. Give it to fucking Qataris. Let them fucking deal with it. Bring in lions, tigers and bears, cut it off. Let's have our own independent fucking, let's call it the North bit. And, you know, whatever, like, I don't know how to solve it. But, like, it deserves better. Like, so, and I don't know will there come a time when they kind of go, listen, we're going to have to change the way we do this? I don't know what that's going to look like.
I think the thing about it is what you said about way back when you said not being obsessed, but the more you relax, I think it's the same for here. I think the more we relax a bit and don't really care.
Well, it's always better when we stop shooting each other.
Yeah,
To be
but
fair,
unless
you
we
can-
care
you
about
can-
it, you know.
Hey, if it's only done on Twitter now, that's good progress.
Yeah,
like.
it's
it
still,
is.
yeah. it's
Oh, you
still
still get the old wackos. Didn't somebody complain about they didn't like Aer Lingus flights, Fenian planes flying over Belfast City Airport? Like. That kind of stuff I find kind of funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't take that as a personal
No, it's
kind of jibe. Like that's just somebody that's life hasn't gone particularly well for them, and they need to blame someone else for their own bad decisions. That's just funny. But you get that everywhere.
You do.
Like there's people down south that like go around claiming there's people like that in every community.
Yeah,
like, so.
yeah.
But you go down south much.
Yeah, fair bit. Yeah,
What do you think of it?
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I love
And how do you find it? Like when they hear your accent, they find out you're from up here. And
Not a
stuff?
problem at all.
There isn't like.
No.
But I think
But
on a
Dublin's very cosmopolitan. right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Different.
listen, Dublin. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But like,
no, it's expensive. Yeah, I have to, yeah.
oh
yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
Dublin.
yeah.
I mean,
Wait,
I don't feel safe in Dublin. Like, I'll be honest with you. The last 3 times I've been down there, I didn't feel very safe there. I know that's just because I'm there late at night, coming out of gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Sunday afternoon, I imagine, can be very different. But I don't know. There's an edge to Dublin at the moment, you know, and it's not being great in the media, and I don't know how to. I know the Department of Justice down there are making new changes in laws and different things to come in, but I often think it takes too long for the law to catch up with society. We move so fast now, and like I don't know if you've seen the show on Netflix called Adolescence.
Started watching it.
Right.
Yeah.
I finished it yesterday. I won't obviously give anything away, but I'd say to anyone listening to this who hasn't seen Alice, who has teenage children, watch it with your teenage children, because I don't have kids, and I watched it, and I went, wow, look how far schooling has come from when I was in school to where the difference in what's in front of them now with the phone and what they have access to compared to when I was in school.
Yeah,
Like I had phones
agree.
in school, but I only had Nokias, right? So we only had text message and Snake, okay? We didn't have access to some of the most horrendous things you can see on camera within a click of a button.
Yeah.
And it's what's going on with your children's life nowadays is not what you had. So you think, they're just going to school and coming home and playing a bit of five-a-side down the shop with the guys down the local shop, hanging out at the petrol station, just having the crack. That's what I did. No, that's not what they're doing. Yeah. So I think if you have teenage kids, you should watch it. I think, to me, law and like Northern Ireland, it's like Northern Ireland has moved so far further forward, but yeah, everything else is too slow to catch up with it. So the people, in my opinion, are 2025, but Northern Ireland is still 2002. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, come on, guys, let's move this a bit better. People can have a better life. If I had my way, 40% tax.
Yeah.
Everyone pays 40% tax. Your pension is what, 12 grand a year? Your pension, the majority should look after the minority. So your pension should be 20 grand a year. The average wait time for hip replacement in Belgium is 7 days. Why is that? Because they're paying 40% tax. Pay higher tax and you get better services. Pay the staff and nurses mental money so you get a better service. Quality of life improves. People live longer.
We've Gavin Robinson MP in here. And you spoke
I should have sat here
You
with him.
spoke more about politics than he did. And you're clearly a very intelligent and wise
I am,
man.
Tim. I
You're
am
a
very intelligent
man.
But I'm not very
Sadly,
good.
you will be remembered.
I'm not very good under pressure in court.
And sadly, you'll be remembered having a fucking spreadsheet for when the hurling is on.
Got to be organised.
I was had a brilliant podcast called Cork of the North, and I very kindly had me on it, and then ended very abruptly afterwards. Hope this doesn't
Not because
happen in
of that.
reverse.
Not
Hope this
because of
didn't
that.
happen in reverse. Andrew, absolute pleasure having you on.
Nice
We
to
will
meet
get
you.
you
Nice
on
to see you
again,
again.
my friend. That
Yeah,
was
I'd love to come
brilliant.
back on. Sorry if I've annoyed people.
No, that's the whole point. That's what you do.
What, annoy people?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the Give My Head podcast. If you like and subscribe, and if any sponsors out there, I love a pint of Guinness. Diageo, if anybody's listening. We're up for sponsorship. Thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe. And if you're doing nothing, Sunday the 27th of April, Lyric Theatre, Tim McGarry's Ridiculous. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all.